This is what happens when leftist policies are adopted by children who then turn on those who made the policies in the first place. Welcome back to the Rich and Rob Show, everybody. I'm Rob. And I'm Rich. Looks like we've got to follow up to the previous episode in which the Yale students demanded more comfort and safety from their caretakers in one of the most privileged institutions in the world. Well, the professor who wrote the original email to students encouraging them to be more accepting of others and not get offended so easily, to allow yourself to be challenged or even offended, resigned. They attacked her and her husband, and the husband was also a professor at Yale, and they attacked him simply for agreeing with his wife over Halloween costumes. All right, let's see the report.
A Yale University faculty member who sparked protests when she said students should be free to push boundaries with Halloween costumes, even to the point of offense, resigned from her teaching position, the school announced Monday. Erica Christakis chose not to continue teaching in the spring semester, the university said on its website. Her teaching is highly valued, and she is welcome to resume teaching anytime at Yale, where freedom of expression and academic inquiry are the paramount principle and practice, the school said.
Oh, committed to freedom of expression unless it goes against the prevailing doctrine, which seems to be more and more controlled by the nanny state. The irony and hypocrisy is rich at every turn.
Christakis came under attack in October for her response to a request from the Intercultural Affairs Committee that students avoid wearing racially insensitive costumes such as Native American headgear, turbans, or blackface. She wrote in an email to students living in the residence hall where she's an administrator that they should be able to wear any costume they want. Is there no room for a child or young person to be a little bit obnoxious, a little bit inappropriate or provocative, or yes, offensive, she wrote? American universities were once a safe space not only for maturation, but also for a certain regressive or even transgressive experience. Increasingly, it seems they have become places of censure and prohibition. The email was one of several incidents on campus that prompted hundreds of students and faculty members to march in protest on November 9th of what they see as racial insensitivity at the Ivy League school. After the march, dozens of faculty members contributed to an open letter showing support for Christakis, who taught courses on child development and psychology.
I still can't get over the irony of it being a childhood development professor being called out by underdeveloped college babies. Well, Rich, what are your thoughts? When I grew up, my siblings and I all made fun of each other, and sometimes we were mean, just as kids always are or can be, but we always made up at some point. We learned problem resolution and even learned that sometimes we were the problem, not others we were initially upset with. Even today, we mock one another and we laugh about it. Right, I do that with my siblings too. I think everybody does. We say horrendous things to each other now that we're grown up, and we laugh about how we get in trouble with that when we were little, when we'd say stuff like that. You learn to resolve issues with one another when things are going wrong instead of trying to prevent people from saying stuff. At some point, if this trend continues of not allowing anything people disagree with to enter anywhere in society, it will trickle down to families monitoring one another like in communist societies. And families are where we learn to get over being offended or having our feelings hurt. I was offended by things my sisters or friends or classmates said to me, but sometimes I was the one who was wrong, not them. In another twist of irony, the students are demanding that their caretakers, the ones in authority, take care of them as though the students were the ones in charge. The inmates are running the asylum because the adults encourage them to complain and be offended. This is what happens when leftist policies are adopted by children who then turn on those who made the policies in the first place. I mean, safe spaces? Really? They should call them weak spaces. Or echo chambers. Maybe they'll wake up and stop coddling kids, but I have my concerns like everybody else. Especially with the upcoming presidential election. People are either going to further lose their minds or the pendulum of civility will swing back a bit. I haven't got much hope that the slippery slope will become grippy. Grippy? Oh, I like that word, even though it's a mixed metaphor and whatnot. Well, that does it for this episode, people. Have a great day, and we'll see you on the next episode of The Rich and Rob Show. Cheers!